Hey everyone, Sean Dawson here from Julie Harris Realty with your November update for 2023. Quite a few things to talk about today, but of course, as always, we'll get straight into the monthly indices. Now, quite an astonishing result if you ask me, with the most recent update from Corelogic for this month. A lot of things going on here, but essentially what Corelogic now is saying is that most of your big capital markets in Australia are up across all categories for both monthly changes and also for year-on-year changes. So essentially what that means is any losses that were made during that period through much of last year and the beginning of this year in relation to interest rate rises have essentially now been made up at this point. From my experience selling properties, certainly since around April or so, I could definitely say that seems to be the case. A lot of buyers through homes, general lack of stock available anyway, so of course that supply-demand ratio is changing things. But I'll just get straight into the indices. So if you take a look, of course, at Brisbane, the greater market, all dwellings category, so the difference for properties across all categories, so this of course includes units, townhouses, freehold homes, anything strata, anything freehold, change for the year on year, so the difference between October 2023 and October 2022, values up across the board by 7.8%. And then if you look at the monthly change, so the difference between September this year, 23, and October 2023, change up across all categories, 1.4%. Now, of course, that spread is that change is actually spread pretty evenly across all categories, including units, townhouses, freehold homes, all that kind of stuff. But if you look at the housing category, so freehold homes, year-on-year changes up 7.5%, and month-on-month changes up 1.4%. And then with units, so of course, anything strata, anything that's not a freehold home, essentially, this includes apartments, villas, townhouses, year-on-year change up 9.6% and up month-on-month 1.3%. Now, in my experience, selling a relatively wide range of different types of properties, especially in the second half of this year, and so of course $1.5 million homes, also $600,000, $700,000 townhouses, and a couple of cheaper units as well, I would say that is definitely in keeping with the changes that I've seen. A lot of interest from buyers, multiple offers, properties under contract within the first week, all that kind of stuff. And so across the 5-year average, the numbers still do indicate that listing volume is down, I think somewhere between 12 to 15% or something like that, so across the 5-year average for this year. But I have heard some rumblings that this year's stock on market is a bit higher than last year. But from what I can tell, I've still got loads of buyers coming through my properties, loads of people making inquiries, so the competition is still out there. If you're looking to purchase before the end of the year, or if you're looking to sell, get your property on the market before the end of the year, you probably really need to be considering having that property on the market no later than perhaps the next 2 to 3 weeks at the very worst. I always tell my clients to expect a marketing campaign that might take a couple of weeks before we find the buyer. That's in contrast to what I have experienced the last few months, but that's something I always kind of make my clients aware of. So if you consider that, consider the fact that a normal minimum settlement period for a typical contract is 30 days, and you also consider the fact that the days between Christmas and New Year's are not classified as business days, so properties don't settle in that period. If you want to be sold by Christmas, you've got to be on the market probably in the first week of December, no later. And also if you want to buy something, you probably need to be making offers on properties and getting under contract at around that time as well. If I can help you with any of that as a buyer or a seller, of course, give me a call. Beyond just the interest rates, beyond just the Corelogic indices, of course, we've got to consider the interest rates. Now, today is Monday the 13th, and so we had our interest rate rise Tuesday last week for the first time in 4 months. The RBA decided to put the standard interest rate up to 4.35%. I cannot comment on whether or not that's going to dampen any interest from my buyers, but I think time will tell. I think coming into this quieter part of the year in the next few weeks, I don't know whether or not we'll be able to figure out whether or not these interest rate rises actually make any effect. But of course they did make those interest rate increases because inflation is not at the target band that they need it at. So the RBA constantly comments that the target band that they need is anywhere from between 2 to 3% inflation rate. The most recent figures from September on have the current inflation rate at 5.4%. They don't expect the rates to be down to that target band probably until the end of 2025. So we're looking at another couple of years of interest of inflation that's probably a little bit too high. But that's why they applied this increase in November. They have not really commented on whether they will or will not be making an increase in December as well, but I think it's possible that we could see that. Of course, we won't see one in January because they don't meet at that time, but that puts us now at the official rate of 4.35%. Of course, that doesn't include the margins that the banks put on their kind of rates. I think now the typical bigger bank interest rate, you're looking at anywhere from 6.5 to 6.8%. I'll close off with just a bit of a recap on a couple of properties that we've recently listed or sold. 14/7 Johnston Street in Carina. Now, I think I've spoken about this in a previous newsletter. This was a gorgeous renovated 3-bedroom townhouse in Carindale Views. Now, this is an estate that Julie and I have sold a lot in over the years. When I started selling with Jules, we were selling these things anywhere from $380 up to $420, depending on the condition. The owners of this home had intended to renovate it with the intent to stay in it long term, but then they ended up getting employment over in Perth and they're going to move over there permanently. So they decided to sell. The spec at which they renovated was of course very high as a result, and we were able to achieve for them $692,000. That was after 6 offers in the first week, with that number being the best that we could achieve. Everyone's happy all around. And the next one is this unit I've got in Nundah. So this is 406/7 to 9 Union Street in Nundah. Now, I have not sold in Nundah before, but I researched a lot about the suburb before I launched. Single bedroom, single bathroom, single car apartment in a just on 10-year-old nice building very close to Nundah Village. We've had, in the first 2 weeks, we had 19 groups through an inspection and we had a couple of offers as well. Currently under contract, we expect it to go unconditional next week. I will advise on the details of that once that happens. But what I can say is that property was on the market earlier in the year with another agent. The offers that they received were not at the offers that I received, and they were unable to get the property under contract at that time. The clients came to me with the hope that I'd be able to achieve a better result. Of course I did. I believe that there's a couple of reasons why that happened. I think that I'm just effective at working with my clients and my buyers. I also believe that might be indicative of what the market's done and how it's changed since April this year. In any case, if you want an agent that knows how to do the job in a market they haven't sold, and I haven't sold in Nundah before, but I've achieved a great result, please give me a bell. If you want to talk about anything else, of course, whether it's the interest rate rises, whether it's inflation, whether it's the Corelogic indices, please give me a call. I'll be happy to help with whatever I can. You can reach me on 0407 149 757. Thanks.